Stand and pledge allegiance and remain standing. Invocation, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom?
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. Give us the wisdom and the knowledge to make the best possible decisions for the citizens of this community. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tom. Could roll call, please.
Present.
Present.
Present. Present.
Present.
Brady.
Item number 5, communications from staff. Do we have any, Ernie?
We have none.
Do you really have a cold?
No,
Oh, okay. Just breathe that way. If you...
good evening. I just have one brief informational item. The storm drain project will begin on Monday, April the 2nd. We had a pre-construction meeting yesterday. So we talked with the contractor and the city engineer about pipe alignment and grades and street closures, notification, etc. Try to answer any question you may have.
I saw the lines in the street there, so it ought to be interesting.
They made a mess out of the street with all those
Now,
lines and everything.
We are going to completely pave the street when we're done with the streetscape, right?
Yes, that will
Okay.
come at a later date.
Now, will they be tearing up all down Main Street? Because some people ask me, some merchants.
They will be closing the entire block and the entire street because as they go along excavating, they have to need room to put all the spoils, all the excavated dirt on one side. One excavator will be doing that. Another excavator will be laying the pipe in and use the other side of the street to bring in the pipe and put it back in and do the backfilling and compaction.
But they'll be able to park down and be able to walk to the merchants won't be closed.
No, the sidewalk areas will be open. You'll be able
They'll be closed one block at a time, right,
Yes,
Ernie?
that's correct.
And I'm assuming they will start in the alley between Fresno and Merced, where they'll pick up there and then come through, or have they said?
They're going to be starting at the on Fresno Street, right on at the alley.
Okay.
What they were going to do is they were going to check the grades to be sure that they found where that last pipeline that was installed back about 4 years ago. They're going to pothole it, dig it up, check the grades, and then because it's real tight quarters going in through there, what they want to do is they want to start on Fresno and shoot up to Main Street, get that done, and then go down.
Do that part last?
Do that part last if possible.
Okay. Okay.
And Ernie, how long, the whole project will take how long?
Well, we do want to get done before the fund runs, so that was one of the things that we did tell them. It was very important for us to see if we could get that project done. They believe that they can. The only thing that they think they may have open are the laterals to where the new drain inlets are going to go, but they're going to have those plated and made safe with asphalt around the edges so people can walk on them.
One other thing, not related to that, but what's the latest on the pile of dirt and the pile of concrete down there by the parking lot?
I got a letter today from the consultant, and I think that he's waiting for approval to get that dirt moved by the contractor. I've gotten the go-ahead to backfill that hole, so these contractors are going to be using our city parking lot to store their materials and their equipment. So I'm going to ask them to see if they can get that done for us, and I'm sure they will. And
The concrete too?
No, I think the concrete, I'll have them load them up and we'll haul it out to our treatment plant.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm?
Item number 6, items from the public, non-agenda items. While the City Council welcomes and encourages participation in the meetings, it would be appreciated if you would limit your comments to 3 minutes so that everyone may be heard. Matters under the jurisdiction of the Council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public at this time. However, California law prohibits the Council from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the City Council. Any non-agenda? Okay. Items from the public, agenda items. Any member of the audience desiring to address the council on a matter on the agenda, please raise your hand or step to the podium at the time the item is announced by the mayor. In order that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the council will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes unless the mayor grants a longer period of time. Item number 7, public hearings. No public hearings. Item number 8, consent calendar. Item 8A, approval of warrants. Item 8B, approval of minutes of the March 13th and March 20th regular meeting. Item 8C, authorize city manager to sign grant application to the State of California Office of Criminal Justice Planning grant for local law enforcement block grant program. Any questions on the consent calendar?
I move the approval of the consent, of the consent calendar.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item 9, regular business. Item 9A, review status of downtown streetscape bid award. Please.
This will be simply an oral report. I've talked to some of you who have come in my office and asked about this, but just an update. As you know, we have a special meeting scheduled for next Tuesday, April 3rd at 7 o'clock, which will be a public hearing to discuss the clerical error being claimed by the prime contractor, D.H. Williams. You will be getting more information with your packet this Friday on that hearing. And basically, assuming that we allow the clerical error and continue with this prime contractor, we will schedule the bid award for April 10th, your next city council, regular city council meeting. There will be some information. There are a couple of other issues with the bid. We will have all that documented, and at that council meeting, there may also be some of the other bidders that might come forward to protest that actually at the council meeting. That's not a public hearing under the Public Contracts Code, but they can still, because it is a public meeting, they can do that. So there may be some other things, but we will have that all well documented at that meeting, give you all the information, and hopefully should be prepared to award the bid on that date. So that's pretty much it. Assuming that we can award on that date, we hope to be ready to be under construction by around May 1st. That will give us, my goal in talking to the contractor is still to have it completed prior to the Labor Day weekend. And so that's what we're shooting for. That technically they have 5 months to complete the project. That will give them 4. And talking to the contractor, he is fairly confident that that can be done in that amount of time, so, or less. So that's just kind of a brief timeline, and we'll move forward from there unless there's any questions anyone has on that issue.
Bob?
Bob Naboa, 940 Fresno Street, Naboa Jewelers. One very important thing, I think, and I know that staff has addressed it as far as a topic that you're going to take up during the process of this downtown improvement, is coordinating some kind of a information program with the merchants. And I really want to I can't emphasize strongly enough how important that's going to be, and I think today was a good example of that when I had contractors walk into my building and inform me that I wasn't going to have a street on Monday. And certainly I know this is going to go, the thing is moving on very, very quickly. However, I think here's an example of how quickly it can get by us, and all of a sudden people don't know what's going on. And so, again, I would encourage you to set up a real comprehensive program, involve the merchants, because without them being informed, this could turn into a real nightmare. We don't want to see that happen. We want to try to be as cooperative as we can, but also keep in mind that we have businesses and livelihoods to maintain. And we know that there are going to be interruptions of business, but I think if they hit us out of the blue, and a good example of that is I'd already made an appointment to have my back room refloored, and so that has now been postponed. And we've moved it up to a date that I'm not certain of now because of the rest of the project going forward. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one in that boat.
Bob, can I ask, are there any other accesses to that? I know there's
None.
the one access, but that just goes to the upstairs, that
Yeah,
one
I have,
off the
I
back
have
of the
no
building?
back access at all.
Okay.
And none of that building does. So our problem is that when you close down that street, and I know that's going to happen, and when you take out the sidewalk, I know that's going to happen, those are lost business days to me.
Yeah.
And not just to me, but to that
No.
entire building.
Right.
And so that's something that if I know that it may be difficult for you to give us a real fine day-to-day
Yeah.
information, but we all have fax machines, and when you know something, and I would encourage the council to direct staff to get all of our fax numbers. And all you have to do is have that one list, and if you've got a halfway decent fax machine, you can program it to fax us all. And the minute you have an updated piece of information, fax us. Let us know what's part of the street, what part of the sidewalk, whatever project's going to take place as soon as you know it. And it may involve somebody else doing something that they're perhaps not assigned to do, but obviously, from my perspective, our well-being is your well-being.
Sure.
And
Well,
we've got to know what's going on. We can't be left to the last minute. And quite frankly, finding out today that Monday I'm going to be pretty much out of business doesn't come as a real pleasant thought.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, right now, you won't be completely out of business. The sidewalks will be completely accessible during this process. During the next process, there will be times when they
I
won't.
appreciate that,
Yeah.
but as we all know, people can't park. People
I know
don't
that.
stop.
I know that. But the point I wanted to make is the process that we're setting up for this is we are going to talk to the business owners and select among the business owners a block captain in each block for this. We will have, at the end of each week, each Friday during the construction process, we will have a meeting for those block captains who will come and meet, and they will receive the entire schedule for the following week, so they know these are the things that are going to be going on a day-to-day basis for the following week. Those block captains, we think we can get them to be responsible to say, and we'll provide that in written form, that they can take back and distribute to their business owners. If there's any questions, the business owners know they can come to that block captain. The block captain then knows who to contact to get those questions answered. So we're working on the process
That's
to
good.
make all of that
That's good.
clear
I would
and have a
encourage
clear
you to put that
understanding.
information out as far as your, even if it might be just in sketch form at this time, I would encourage you to put that information out tomorrow. Because even though you may not have the fine details, you've got the plan in place. And there are those of us out there that are going, why are they painting the street?
Yeah,
And then we find out.
sure.
And so, again, it's part of, I don't think we can know too soon.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can know what you have in mind too soon. And, hopefully it'll all go as smooth as possible. I know there's going to be some hitches, but I think information is our best tool here, and we look forward to receiving it. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Bob.
You sound like a good candidate for
There's,
block
there's also a young lady I talked to from Turlock who runs the downtown association over there and was kind of a liaison when they doing their downtown. And Paul Wallace is supposed to contact her to come over and address the chamber at some future date, early I assume, to kind of help answer any questions that you might have that they probably ran into also. So, all right, item 9B, review project list and provide comments and direction. I think we've covered the first two pretty well.
I can go through this in any detail that you wanted to. as you know, as I mentioned in my report, we're getting ready to start the next year's budget process. And I wanted to kind of give you an idea of the projects that we have on the board right now that we're working on. As you can see, this is a fairly extensive list of things that we have going right now. And, you know, all of these are in some form. Some of these, I think I've mentioned in here, are things that we will look to and planning on putting in the coming year budget. They may not be being worked on immediately. And there may be some other projects that you have in mind that you can bring up now or you can bring up later at any time, you know, but in the near future to let us know so that we can get them programmed into our budget and make sure that they're
Okay.
available. So
Would you like me to go ahead and read these off, just to let our people out in TV land know
that's fine, whatever you'd like to
what
do.
the project is happening? I say the downtown streetscape and the downtown storm drain we've just covered. Inyo Avenue, the railroad crossing project is in progress as we speak. And as soon as it's finished, which is a 30-day period, the whole remaining street will be worked on. Is that 30-day period for the whole thing?
Well, we expect approximately that after our part of it gets going. What's happening right now is only the railroad part of it. We have a little bit of delay after that because we're still trying to get the PG&E and the telephone poles moved, and that's been programmed. However, I understand it's still, maybe 20 to 30 days away, Ernie, before they say they can get those moved. So that's going to set us back a little bit. Once we get our people in there going, which is at the end of those 20 to 30 days, then it'll be 30 days from then it'll be completed.
How about the billboard?
Billboard, that's the other thing that needs to be moved, we're still working on. So we think we can get it done by the time the poles are moved, so.
Okay,
Cleve, will NU be closed the rest of this week for the railroad deal?
Yes, it'll be closed throughout this week.
and they'll be finished with that part. And
Yeah,
everybody can
once
use
they're
it.
finished with that part,
Okay.
it will be opened up again. We're gonna see how it is, because the one track they're raising up, there may be a need we might have to put some signage out there and some warning signs in the interim before we come in and finish the project, because it may be a little bit of a steeper climb up over the tracks for an initial period until that's done. But we'll make sure we have warning signs up there until we get in there and get our work done.
I see they have a detour sign pointing through Yancey Lumber. I was down there tonight. It's right there.
Could
I
have.
wonder what I saw
haven't.
cars coming through. When I saw it.
Maybe you could pick up some extra business that way.
Kern's out there stomping and selling things. That go through. Skate park. I've been, I guess everyone's been getting a lot of flack on that. According to this, we're receiving the proposal from the construction firm to provide the pad site and preparing proposal to solicitate construction of ramps. I know I'd talked to you today about that, and you haven't heard anything from the people who are going to pour the
No,
pad, so.
I haven't heard from them yet. Talked to them last week, and they should be getting back with me this week.
So I think we can have some sort of, something for next meeting, or?
Yeah, I'll check with them
Okay.
prior to the next meeting and see where they're at. The proposal for the ramp construction, I should send out tomorrow. And I'll give them, 15 to probably 20 days or so to respond to that.
Okay.
Is that Becky's company, Cleve?
Well, I'm going to send it to several companies and see what we get. So.
Okay, youth center remodel. Plans are being prepared by Architecture Plus, 2 or 3 weeks to prepare the plans and bids immediately following, and construction proceeding late April or May. Anything to add to that, or?
Nope.
Okay. Teen center development to be assigned to new employee. Could you-
As soon as I get a new employee hired, the one I'm recruiting for right now, I plan on, that's to turn this youth center into a teen center. And as far as development of programs and things like that, I plan on having my new person work on that and develop those programs. So and how
Making any progress toward getting a new person?
It closed on Friday, and they'll probably be setting up interviews for the end of next week or the first part of the following week.
Swimming pool repairs and upgrades. The repairs are almost completed, waiting for the cover reel and the gas line. Gas line scheduled to be installed on March 26th.
It was installed.
It was installed, okay.
Did they fire them up today, Ernie, or?
The meter was installed today, they fired it up tomorrow.
Okay, so that's basically completed, with the exception of the reel, for the covers. That's not in yet, but I
Is
did
this
hear
gentleman in Augustine making that, or? that
No,
was-
no, we
they're
went
buying
ahead and purchased
purchasing
it from.
okay.
But then they can start swimming as soon, you don't need that part to start the practice.
No, we don't, except that in order to take good care of those covers, it'll be nice to have the reels to properly remove them out of the pool when they're in there. So otherwise, they went in there once, even when it was cold at the one time, and they just simply slid them over on top of each other, which isn't bad, but it's better to be able to take them out of the pool, roll them up properly on the reels. So we need to get those in so that. At that time, I guess they moved them off to one side, still kept them in the pool and swam, but otherwise, we don't have any place to put them while they're in the pool.
The Plaza, downtown Plaza development. I'd requested that we begin looking at the Plaza development primarily to get some preliminary design going so that we can decide if we're going to put our permanent Christmas tree in there and where we should put it or whatever. And I thought that maybe we could use the existing streetscape committee to come up with some ideas on this. So I think we could probably do that sometime this month maybe, or next month rather.
Yeah, we can probably get something started on
Okay,
that.
because the ones I've talked to in the streetscape committee are agreeable to that.
Right.
So. And a couple of them on there are ones that were around when this thing was, the first idea was, first thing came up, so. LM Stanislaus Street reconstruction. Plans are being developed through Garcia, Davis, and Ringler, our city engineers, and scheduled for construction this summer. Any questions on that? L Street Extension. Requested a proposal from Garcia, Davis, Ringler to prepare plans not yet received. Expected work to be done this summer. General plan update. Bob Borchard, our planner, has begun this process, and this will continue over the next year.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I did want to comment on the general plan update. The Planning Institute convention recently attended by myself and Councilmember Fantasia. It really stressed community involvement, even with our update, just to let the public know that we're going through this process, taking a look at the general plan, because it's so it encompasses so much that we do make an effort to involve the public as much as possible. I know that was done initially with the town hall meetings and
Yeah,
such,
I
but
think we can have that. I think that's a good idea.
part of the process.
Actually, much of that process is not only recommended, but a lot of it is required
Yes.
now under the new laws. So, yeah, there will definitely be, Bob has already began putting together some things. In fact, I think when you were still on the Planning Commission, he did distribute, I believe, a citizen's guide
Yes.
to general plan updates. And so he's began putting that together, and there will be a committee set up of public members, and there will be several public meetings. So he is definitely in tune with that, and will definitely be a public process to allow that to go through.
Okay, anything else on that?
No, that was it.
Okay. Stevens Ranch subdivision. Council approved subdivision improvement agreement for first phase. Improvement plan's almost finished. Construction should begin in April for improvements, with models also being built. Walnut Creek subdivision. Working on improvement plans, first set submitted, should be completed in April, with work beginning in April or May. Lucas Ranch 2 subdivision. Working on improvement plans, should also begin work in either April or May, possibly June. Sherman Ranch subdivision, working on a backbone infrastructure improvement agreement. Should come before council in April, and improvement plans and final maps should be submitted in April or May. Possible construction on infrastructure in May or June. Hearthstone Ranch subdivision, working on backbone infrastructure agreement with city and Sherman Ranch. Yolo Street
What's happening on that as far as the railroad crossing and all that?
There has been an application prepared to go to PUC, and I believe it's been submitted to PUC. They gave it to us. I'm trying to remember if the author told us they wanted to move forward with it, or if they're still holding that right now. But the process is beginning on that.
Okay.
So we've told them they're doing the work. Obviously, we have to be the applicant, so we have to sign the form. But they're doing the work on that. So we're doing everything we can to work with them.
Don't see any real holdup on that, or?
It'll be a good process. They've had an initial conversation with the PUC, and because it is such a lightly used rail, initial comments were that it shouldn't be a difficult process to get it done. So,
Okay. Thank you.
The Yolo Street widening. It's programmed for next round of transportation funding. No set date. Is this funding through STANCOG or?
yes, that's what I was looking for the funding. Yeah, depending on what next available funding that might be made available for that.
Yeah, I heard a presentation from the Ad hoc Transportation Committee the other day at SCEDCO, and it seems like what's kind of holding it up is each city should submit their transportation wants, what they think is the biggest priority, not only just in town, but like the Crow's Landing Road improvement, things like that, so that STANCOG can get these things together and get a program going. That they don't have one going. If they don't have a program going, they're not getting any funding. So the only two cities that I know have done this so far is Oakdale and I believe Riverbank. I'm not sure. Or no, Modesto.
Newman's already done it. There's 2 projects that were submitted. STANCOG meeting is on this coming Thursday, and every city, we have a list of the project that every city wants. And then we have the 2 major projects for the entire county.
Right.
So,
We have those all set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting process. Actually, at the end of the meeting last night, there was a transportation forum, and what you've got is there's several groups that are working on this, and STANCOG is trying to bring them all together.
advisory committee.
It started with this ad hoc subcommittee. There was a plan that came through the county and kind of floated up, and then you have STANCOG that has put their plan together, and then just recently it came to the attention that there was some concern that the cities and the county, well, the county kind of been involved, but the cities hadn't been asked what their priorities were. It had kind of gone around that, but the cities hadn't been asked, so they came back and said, okay, cities, give us your top 2 projects, and we submitted those. The city managers submitted those to STANCOG, and now the meeting last night was to try to bring all of this together. What is happening is actually they're trying to put together their regional transportation plan, which is a 20-year plan that they are required to do in order to have funding. And that'll go on, I think it's scheduled to actually not be completed until about next December. It's a long public process that they're going through to try and put everything together, and that's talking about not only roads, but other transit, rail, bike trails, all of that are included within that plan. So there is quite an extensive process, and that will, Thursday night, they will be looking at that again at their regular, actually this is a special meeting that they scheduled.
Oh, they didn't have a quorum at the other meeting.
At the last meeting, there was not a quorum, and there's some business they need to take care of. They're taking care of that, but they're also going to be discussing this issue at that meeting.
Cleve, I had a question. That encompassed our request for the shortfall on the streetscaping. I believe you stated about the 165,000 roughly. Is this part of that?
That was at the last meeting that was supposed to be on their agenda when they
Right.
didn't have a quorum. And
Is it going to be forwarded to this meeting?
It is on this meeting. Actually, it's a consent calendar item, not for us to get the money, but to say, one of the priorities for distributing this money, the top priority is going to be cost overruns. And I've already communicated with StanCog and let them know that we do have a cost overrun.
Well, according to
on
the
our
agenda, one of the comments made is that nobody has come forward yet so far as to whether or not there would be any substantiated cost overruns.
They know that we have. I've
Okay.
talked to them verbally. I haven't
I
put
was
that
going
in
to talk to you
writing
about
to
that
them yet.
tomorrow, so.
Yeah, so they will have ours soon. I was trying to put together I was trying to find out for them. I haven't got an answer back as far as, do we need to have this approved, this cost overrun, prior to us awarding the bid? Because I don't want to jump the gun on us awarding the bid and preclude us from being able to obtain that extra money. So I'm trying to get that answer from StanCog now as far as timing on how we do this to ensure that we don't forego the opportunity to get that extra money.
Industrial park improvements. Street improvements, new well, and other infrastructure improvements to expand industrial park. Studies for improvements should start this summer. So that means that's a next year's project, somewhere along the line.
Yeah, it is. We'll put something together and kind of review that, see where we need to go. As I've mentioned to you in the past couple of meetings, I think we're very soon going to be